in the not-too-distant future, following the rapid succession of World Wars III and IV, plus the hidden horrors of secret World War II. There's not much left. All that remains is a place where folks get together to read and discuss comic books. Sometimes they laugh, sometimes they argue, but they always record and upload their transmissions. You've found one of those transmissions today. Welcome to the last comic shop. Rate, review, and subscribe to our weekly comic book reviews on all the major podcasting platforms at www.lastcomicshoppodcast.com.
We go. And welcome to episode 430 of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says
we must meet this threat with our courage, our valor, indeed with our very lives, to ensure that human civilization, not insect, dominates this galaxy. Now and always.
Okay. Trooper.
Starship. Yeah, it's a little starship. So, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Everybody went down to Picklesburg.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, I didn't go.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like pickles.
No.
Number one.
I'd be out of my element as well. But apparently it is a big to-do.
Yeah, it is. I was wigged out yesterday a little bit, so a little too much for me.
Well, I mean, you went to a Steeler game, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest crowd you've been in since. I mean, I know you had concerts planned, but I don't know if you went to any.
No, nothing yet. Yeah, it was all right. It was it was kind of nice. I mean, there wasn't actually. We were in the middle of a row.
Yeah.
In our row, and then there was one on the end and two on the other end. Nobody in front of us and nobody in back of us. So.
Well, it being a preseason game, it was sparsely populated.
Right, and going in, we went right in.
Yeah.
So, and the T wasn't even overcrowded. So, I mean, it was actually a pretty good experience.
That's good. Like ease into it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that I didn't have to wear my mask in the seat because there was nobody around me.
Yeah.
Except Jared. But, when I went out concessions we went out to those areas that were, busy. I put a mask on. And leaving and coming in, I had a mask on.
Yeah.
But even coming in wasn't bad, and actually leaving wasn't bad either.
That's good. Yeah.
But it was still a lot of people. So.
Yeah, it was probably what, 20 to 30,000 there.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It was pretty good. It was good to sit down at the field again.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let's take care of some podcast business first before we get into everything. And first, I want to apologize for last week's episode. Apparently, like the last 15 minutes weren't there. I didn't know that. I think it's going to be. I'm going to put that on user error. I think that was something I did when I edited the podcast. Somehow I deleted it. Like, I don't know, like, because it kind of faded. Like, listening to it felt like it was like right around the time that, like, you took a break. Like, you had to take a break, and I'll edit that out, and then, but I think I did something where I just deleted everything. So that's going to be on me. I'll take the L for that one. And again, I apologize. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I posted it, and then I got Stork saying, "You just cut out for no reason." I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I listened to it myself. I'm like, oh shit, it does. And I only thing I could figure out is it had to have been an error on my part. So I apologize for that. But on to other things, podcast related. We are looking to do a number of things to you. I hate using buzzwords like this, but this is the only thing I can think that kind of makes sense, is to expand the brand.
Okay.
I'll give you an honest answer to a question here. Our numbers stink. Like, they're atrocious. We don't have that many listeners, and in a way, it's kind of getting frustrating. I feel like sometimes we're doing some of our best work, and I feel like nobody's hearing it. The flip side of that, I don't want to stop doing this because it's fun, and it's always going to be like that. But at the same time, there is a little bit of an ego that does need to be stroked. I do want to feel like at least somebody's listening to the show. You know what I mean? And those of you who are listening, I can't thank you enough for that. We say at the end of every show, but truly, deeply, from the deepest part of my heart, you people who do listen to the show week in and week out, I can't thank you enough for it. But at the same time, I don't want to change the show, but I need to find other ways to promote the show. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what can I do? Like, what do I have at my disposal? Well, I mean, we have a Facebook page that we do nothing with at all.
Right.
Like, I once a week I will post, like, here's the new episode, and that is it with that Facebook page. So what I'm going to be doing going forward with the Facebook page, number one, I'll be posting articles that we may end up talking about on the show. So if I come across an article, I will post it to the Facebook page, and I'll ask for discussion. Hey, what do you guys think of this? What are your thoughts? And, we may include those in the discussion that we have here on the podcast. So-and-so said, I posted this link. This is what so-and-so had to say about this story. And go from there. So it's a way to create community and interaction. Also, I will be posting a vlog 2 or 3 times a week to the Facebook page, as well as our brand new YouTube page. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd on YouTube and you'll find it very, very easily, just like everything else. I think I'll be doing Saturdays, Mondays, and Wednesdays trying to post stuff. Saturdays for sure, because I want to talk about wrestling. I know you don't watch wrestling. Trying to talk to you about wrestling, I might as well talk to the wall. So, and I mean, that's fine. I mean, but that's something I love, and I'd like to give my thoughts and expression on it. And I think, doing it that way is a great idea.
Yeah.
Mondays, maybe do like a product review of some type, be it something I've read, something that I use on a daily basis, stuff like that. Just, again, a way to kind of like be an influencer, and then Wednesdays are probably just going to be some random rant. That's thoughts cool. It's like something nerdy. I'm not, it's not going to be political. It's not going to be anything, just, hey, I've been watching this and boy, this sucks, or, something goofy, you never know. That'll probably be, so like, I feel like this is something that I can do to expand the brand and hopefully draw people in to listen to the show. Another thing we're going to be doing, we're going to be retiring the mailbag segment.
Yeah.
The reason for retiring the mailbag segment is, in all honesty, we get one email a week, and that's from Thad. Occasionally, we get something from Tim or Stork, but mostly it's just Thad. And, I'm making 15 minutes of time to be able to go through his email, which 9 times out of 10 has nothing to do with the actual show. It's just his silliness. And I feel like it's not cognitive to the show. What I do hope is, when Haunted House season rolls around here very soon, that was something that Thad did take very, very seriously. I hope he does send us those reviews, and we'll go over those. But overall, and I don't want to discourage people from writing in. I do want to hear from people, hear your thoughts, but we're just going to cut the mailbag segment because it's really only just Thad, and it's just, it doesn't fit with the show.
Yeah.
So, I love you, Thad. I do. But I think this is for the best. We're just going to cut the mailbag segment out completely. There's going to be 10 to 15 minutes we can use for conversation about something else, or we just shorten the show by that.
Right.
And we will have another big announcement next week. Next week for sure. I don't want to give anything away, but it is, to me at least, I think to you,
yeah,
it's a big announcement. Something that we've never done before. Something that I'm looking forward to, having a partnership of some type. I don't want to get into it because I want to make the finalization, and I'm going to talk to them this week. But we're going to be doing something very, very big in the coming weeks that I hope generates some excitement. And when I told you about it yesterday because I flew the idea past you, and you sounded very excited about this opportunity as well.
Sure, yeah. It'll be good. It'll be a good thing.
Way to sell it, buddy.
I know. Great. No, it'll be cool.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, right.
Can't wait.
Nah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, it'll be good. It's something new. It's something that, like you said, we haven't done, and so it'll be fun. There's a lot of opportunity there, and
I think so too. And again, I don't want to give it away. I want to talk about it next week when we have all the details. But I do think it is going to be a way to, again, to use that synergy of expanding the brand.
right.
I think this is going to be a big opportunity for us, and I can't wait. Like I can't wait to tell everybody. I want to tell you now, but I don't have all the details, and so I don't want to tell you until I have all the details. But so I'm sitting on this right now, and it's just like I'm ready to explode because it's like such a cool thing.
Yeah.
So big changes happening here at the P&P podcast. Your good old friends here at Pittsburgh Nerd. We're not trying to be famous, but I just want to stroke my ego.
Right.
To put it away. Like, there's something to that. So lots and lots of good stuff coming in the very, very near future.
Okay.
So let me ask you, sir, have you watched anything this week? Any besides going to a Steeler game? Even though it was a preseason game, it was still like, you were at a Steeler game.
Yeah, it was good. The
Yeah.
game was good. I mean, I think we left around before the fourth quarter started. Because at that point I was done.
Yeah.
I mean, not done, but I just, it's fourth quarter preseason. But
yeah, the guys that are getting into the fourth quarter were guys who are going to be bagging groceries at the end, when the season starts.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ben looks sharp, real sharp. And downfield passes were happening.
Yeah.
And that's what I was probably most excited about. And he looks in shape. And he does. He looks pretty fit. He looks thinner. So that was good. That Najee Harris run was crushing.
That was.
It was a great run. And that new Penn State tight end. 2 touches, 2 touchdowns, good grabs.
Yeah, Pat. Vandersmooth, I think is his name.
Yeah, Vandermooth or something like that.
Yeah.
Dude can catch. And it showed Najee can catch too, so that was good. Didn't see anything really impressive defensively. Nothing that turned my head. I mean, they were in the game, you know what I mean? They made some stops, of course, but Deontay Johnson had a good catch. I mean, there's some good stuff going on offensively. I'm just happy to see Ben. And maybe the offensive line hopefully we'll get them up to 60% this year, 70%, because that kind of tells you if he's throwing downfield like that, then hopefully they're going to scrap some of that screen pass. There's nothing wrong with a screen pass, but
Well, I mean, the problem was
last year. Do it every down.
Yeah, 90% of their offense was he was completing passes 3 to 5 yards downfield.
Right, because they didn't have an offensive line to protect them.
Right, so he had to get rid of the ball that quickly, and
right.
I think having a guy like Najee, again, no knock against James Conner, he's a damn fine running back, but he's not an explosive, game-changing running back like Bell was.
Right.
Say what you will about how Bell left Pittsburgh. When Bell was on the field, he was a game-changing player, both running and receiving. Najee Harris is the same thing. He's going to be a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can catch the ball down the field. He can line up in the slot. You can do a lot of different things with him. But I think the biggest thing you're going to see, and you probably didn't notice it, but I do, it's they're going to be using more motion.
Yeah.
Last year, their offense was basically line up, let Ben read the defense, and hike the ball. Now they're going to be using motion more to, get the defense off kilter, to help Ben read the defense a little bit better. There's a lot of Matt Canada's offense, especially when he was at the offensive coordinator at Pitt. The thing I remember most about it was unique formations and a lot of motion to get people off, to get the defense moving. Right. So those are things that, if he brings that, I'm sure Ben has some input into what they're going to do. Probably a lot of input, but at the same time, I think Matt Canada is going to kind of convince them, look, we need to change this up. You just can't line up and, 4 wide receivers and, run your offense. It doesn't work that way. Let me explain to you why, and let me show you, so I'm sure there's going to be a bit of that, but I'm looking forward to it. I know Cleveland's going to be really, really good. I know Baltimore's going to be really, really good, but I feel like, this is a team that, if they can get to 10 wins, they can be 10-7, which is a possibility. I mean, you could sneak into the playoffs.
Right.
I don't know if they can win the division. I think, Cleveland and Baltimore are kind of ahead of them. But, with that defense, if that defense plays the way it did last year and the offense can get back to being some semblance of, good, they've got a shot at making a run.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't know. From first glance, I just liked what I saw offensively.
Yeah.
I like the balls being thrown down. The only bad ball I really saw was not bad. It wasn't a bad throw. Was that throw to Ebron that he came back for and missed. It wasn't really a bad throw, but
that was a bad drop by him, because I mean he had that, like on TV, it was like he had that and then he just kind of let it go. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean but I like how Ben was coming out of the pocket. He was faking the throw. It looked a little old Benish to me.
Yeah. That one touchdown pass to the Vandersmooth, like when he like pump faked, like he like brought that ball down, like that was old school Ben, where he like, dropped it down on the pump fake and then came back up right away and was like, right there to him. Like,
I'm not seeing
that extra second.
Right, and I'm not seeing that any ill effects of the elbow at this point. Well, I mean, he could still fire the ball. So
I think most importantly is he's more than a year removed from it. I think last year he kind of started off strong and his arm got weaker as the year went on. Mm-hmm. I think that was also part of his problem. Now he's had a full year to really work out that arm and get it back up to snuff.
Yeah, man, so, he looked up to snuff from what I saw. And he played more than I thought he was going to play.
Yeah, the fact that he played the full first quarter was surprising.
Yeah, Smith-Schuster played a lot more than I thought he was going to play.
Yeah. A lot of the starters played a lot longer. Like they played the full first half.
Yeah, and that was nice for me.
Yeah. As somebody who went to see the game, that's nice. Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Cool.
So did that. I watched the He-Man series.
Okay. What'd you think?
I loved it. I didn't have any qualms with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty damn good.
So did I.
I thought I was all into it.
Yeah.
And it was funny when it needed to be at certain moments, but for the most part, it was a pretty serious movie. I mean, serious. It wasn't like I thought it was pretty good. I mean, seriously, I thought it was 10 times better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I agree with you. Like I thought it was really well done. I liked the character, like the way that they kind of like went in more in depth with some of these characters, like Evelyn, like Orko.
Yeah.
Like Orko was fucking amazing. Like he was a great character.
Right.
Like I mean, he was sympathetic, and like I mean, there was nothing that I could say about Orko that I was like, man, he's gotta fucking go. He was he was legit. Like I mean, he was still like the bumbling klutz, but they played it in such a way that he became this sympathetic character, and at the end, you're like, he's a fucking badass.
Yeah,
you go, Orko. I mean,
it was pretty neat.
It was. I mean, it was. Like I applaud the writers. The people who came up kind of with the full 5-episode arc on how that's going to play out. I just thought it was a job well done. I thought they really did a good job of giving us these characters and explaining what they are.
Yeah, I liked. Yeah, they did, and I liked the characters. I thought they were. I don't know. I just thought it was very well written.
They were more than just 2-dimensional.
Yeah, even Beastman had more than one dimension to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even Merman had more than one dimension to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of cool to see that, actually.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, they really rounded out the characters and made them much more interesting than they ever were in, like, the 80s. Because they were just so 2-dimensional, and, it was, like, I know it's beloved, but it was just, man. Yeah,
it was not a great cartoon.
No.
It was filled with garbage.
And, But this takes these characters, and I mean, like, I feel like the only thing that held it back was, like, the names. Like, oh, it's Stinkor, like, oh, that's rough,
Right.
But like they turned Mossman into like a Swamp Thing like character. Like, I mean, there was a lot of like things I really, really liked that they did to like change the mythos and make it more interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, I thought it was good, dude. I did. I didn't get sick of Hamill either. I liked what he was doing with him.
I mean, I think the key to that is, less is more.
Yeah.
But still, like, what you got of him was like, well worth the payout.
The smells like pine moment was good.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good stuff coming from this TV series. I mean, like, I don't know what everybody was so upset for.
Well, they're upset because it's not He-Man.
Well, it is.
But it's not. It's the Masters of the Universe, and the main character wasn't He-Man. It was Teela.
Yeah, but it's not like He-Man wasn't in it. I mean, he was in it for a lot of the series.
But it was a matter of what has people upset is you've ruined my childhood, because it's not about He-Man. It was about Teela dealing with what she feels is betrayal. Her circle of friends betrayed her. Everybody knew that around her that Prince Adam was He-Man except for her. And nobody trusted her with that information.
And the king.
And the king. The king's like, what? But it was like one of those things where, like, so when magic falls, like when Grayskull falls like this, her anger is, fuck you all. I'm walking away. I don't need this. You didn't trust me to begin with.
Right.
And, and like, it was like, I think it was really, really well done. And like, that moment between her and Adam and, in Valhalla or whatever the hell that was, like, where he's trying to explain to her, like, look, I was going to tell you someday. It's just, I mean, it was like really, really well, like, but people were upset because what they wanted was He-Man. They wanted it to just be He-Man and Skeletor, and instead they got this very interesting story that will eventually be about He-Man and Skeletor, but you have to get there. You have to take the journey first.
Right.
And then nobody wants to take the journey. They just wanted, He-Man and Skeletor punching each other.
Yeah,
and that's not interesting.
Right, it's not. To tell you the truth, the first cartoon wasn't that interesting.
No.
It was filled with cheese, and I think some people that are chiming in on this haven't watched that cartoon in a long time.
And I think, like, the thing is, like, I mean, watching stuff about He-Man, like, I watched this documentary called The Power of Grayskull, and the things like the producers of the movie talked about, they had a problem with was getting around the fact that He-Man's not allowed to kill anybody.
Right.
He-Man's not allowed to go on offense.
Right.
Like, if you watch the cartoons, like, He-Man is never offensive. He is always in a defensive position, like with the sword, with, like, he never punches anybody. He's always on defense, and somehow he wins the day. Whereas, like, when the movie, they're like, well, we need him to kill things. And they're like, no, He-Man doesn't kill anything.
Right.
Well, we need him to go on offense. Well, you can't do that. He's always defense. Like, what do you mean? No. So they had to do this work around with, like, the robots and shit. But it was like, so, like, he was like this boring character. And, like, there's that great line in the first episode where, like, after Skeletor kills Mossman and He-Man runs Skeletor through, Skeletor uses that line, you finally used that sword the way it was meant to be. He then references, like, unlocking the power, but still, like, running Skeletor through is what that sword was meant to do.
Right.
But we never got that. So, I mean, it was like, it was shit like that, like, with the 80s cartoon that turned me off, because it was too much.
Right.
You know,
Way too much.
but yeah, but at the same time, like you saw like potential like with those characters, and that's what made them beloved. And now you come to this, and here's this reboot of it, and all of a sudden, we're going to go on this interesting journey to explore some of these other characters and what they've been put through in the name of protecting Eternia.
Right.
And nobody likes that. They want to see He-Man and Skeletor punch each other.
Right. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
The whole argument is just not based on. I don't know. I thought what he did was great. He turned a shit 80s cartoon into something that was actually very interesting.
Yeah.
And there was no. I mean, in that cartoon, there was no overall arc. It was just, here you go. Here's Stinkor. How are they going to get Stinkor today?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The cartoon was designed to sell toys. That's all it was meant to do, was sell toys.
Exactly.
And they did it in a really shitty way.
Yeah, I know.
Like, at least like with Transformers and G.I. Joe, like those cartoons, while also strictly meant to sell toys, told interesting stories. You know, He-Man was just, it was literally a toy commercial.
Right.
You know.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Yep. Trying to think if I watched anything else.
Well, I watched a great documentary that I would highly recommend. It's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Called Malice at the Palace.
Okay.
This is about the 2005 incident between the Detroit Pistons and the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
Where, I mean, once I tell you, you're probably going to remember this, because I mean, it was huge at the time.
Mm-hmm.
In the playoffs previously, the Eastern Conference Finals, it was the Pacers and the Pistons, and Game 6, Ron Artest gets called for a flagrant foul, and he's thrown out of the game. And like they kind of, like, you know, was it really a flagrant foul? Like it was a rough foul, but was it flagrant? You know, it was like one of those types of deals. And it ended up costing them the game, and they didn't go. You know, the Pistons go to the finals and win the NBA title.
Mm-hmm.
So the next season, you know, again, the Pistons and the Pacers are the two best teams in the league. And this is early in the season. This is like, you know, I think 10 games in, and they're playing in Detroit, and Indiana's blowing them out. And it's like, you know, there's like less than a minute left in the game, and somebody yells to Ron Artest, "You can get your foul."
Okay.
So Ron Artest lays out Ben Wallace like a real flagrant foul, and this leads to a fight amongst the players, which is, you know, that shit happens, and you know, no real punches are thrown or anything. And Ron Artest lays down on the scorer's table.
Yeah, I remember this. Yes.
Yeah. Well, somebody from the stands throws a cup of beer that hits Artest, and Artest goes into the stands.
Right.
And all hell breaks loose at this point. Steven Jackson goes into the stands. Jermaine O'Neal's fighting for his life on the court. Like, shit is going. It was this melee of between the fans and the players, and almost to the point of a riot.
Right.
Like at one point, somebody throws a chair at a player. You know,
Yeah,
shit was crazy. And so the documentary is about the incident, everything that kind of leads up to this incident, but then the fallout from this incident. Because the fallout was, well, NBA players are thugs. This is hip hop culture. This is, you know, like it became like a race thing, in all honesty. Like, you know, That's when the NBA instituted the dress code policy that you had to wear a suit to and from the arena.
Yeah.
That was, the NBA started, it was, weed, it was rap music, it was everything that was wrong with America is what the NBA was. And the NBA was fighting this war of, for their image. And,
Right.
Ron Artest was, suspended for the rest of the season. Steven Jackson, I think, got 30 games, and Jermaine O'Neal got 25 games. Ben Wallace, I think, got 20 games.
Uh-huh.
And it was one of those things where it was this incident in the history of sport, and one of the things you have to ask is, again, especially with the NBA, how close is too close?
Right.
Those courtside seats, there's nothing between you and the players.
Right.
You know what I mean? With football, I've seen shit at football games where I'm embarrassed to be a fan.
Yeah.
But the players can't get into the stands.
No.
And you as a fan can't get to the player. I've seen shit, I've seen shit in the stands between fans that I'm embarrassed by.
Right.
I mean, just, you were at a Steeler game yesterday. There was a big fight at the Steeler game yesterday.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
So, I mean, it's that thing of the media focused on the players and the mentality that players have, but the reality should be on us as the fan.
Right.
How do we behave?
Right.
If that cup isn't thrown at Ron Artest never goes into the stands.
Right.
That's the thing. So it's how do you you're right, the players have a responsibility, and part of that responsibility is you never go into the stands, but at the same time, when somebody just throws a beer at you out of the stands, how do you not respond to that?
Right.
How do you not respond to that type of bullshit, especially when they're that close?
Right.
And it was an interesting documentary. I enjoyed it, because it's one of the things I am interested in. I'm interested in how far can we as fans go?
Right.
I've made the joke. I mean, and it's really, I've made a player cry.
Yeah.
I made somebody on the Cincinnati Bearcats cry one time because he got juked out of his shoes by LaShawn McCoy, and they lost a game because of it.
Yeah.
In the end, when he came to the sidelines, I laid into him to the point that the players wanted me removed, but I never said anything vulgar.
Right.
I just called him a loser, and I your team lost because of you, and and this is why you're at Cincinnati and not at a real school. I was saying, I never went vulgar, so you could never throw me out, but you could tell they wanted me gone.
Yeah.
This guy was in tears, and I was laying into him.
Yeah.
And is that too far?
No. Do you think that it was too far?
Looking back on it, I was an asshole.
Right, I agree.
I was an asshole. You've been to games with me. You know how big of an asshole I can be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would never put myself in a position. I made it personal with that particular player, but I never said anything that could get me, ejected.
Right.
So, what's the line?
Yeah.
Well, I was an asshole. I mean, that's for certain. But you can't throw somebody out for being an asshole. Now, if I was you stupid motherfucker, that could get you thrown out.
Right.
So that's the difference. But I mean, looking back on it now, I probably would never do that again. I've mellowed in my old age.
Yeah.
But at the time, like, I think I was there with Frank Groves. He thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah.
The fact that I made a player cry.
Right.
You know. So I don't know. But like but also like I would never throw anything. You know what I mean? Like I knew the line.
Right.
You know, I can talk as much shit as I want to. I'm not crossing that line where I'm going to endanger you as a player.
Right. But you hear a lot of that stuff at games.
Right. You hear a lot of that shit at games, but at the same time, like, I hear a lot of shit. You hear a lot of shit at those games that like is not family friendly.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't care what city you're in. Like, there's a lot of vulgarity being thrown around. Like, I was at a Pitt game. I made sure I kept my language clean when I insulted that player, but I made sure he knew that I knew he sucked.
Right.
And he cost his team a game, you know, because he couldn't make a play.
You should have seen the year the Duck was in Rudolph queuing.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
You talking about a bad vibe in the stadium?
No, I can't imagine because I've been to Cordell Stewart games. You know, you want to talk about a bad vibe.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, the documentary is called "The Malice at the Palace." It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. If the subject matter is of interest to you, I highly recommend. Just because it's like it was Reggie Miller's last season. Like, he retired because of this in many ways. You know, like it was like Reggie Miller's one of the all-time greats. Like, say what you will about Reggie Miller, he's one of the all-time greats. He was on the Dream Team. You know,
yeah.
he's one of the all-time greats. He's one of the greatest three-point shooters you'll ever see. You know, and it's a sin that he doesn't have a ring. But at the same time, like, he stayed all 17 years in Indiana. You know, he made the Indiana Pacers something worth talking about.
Right.
You know, like, you know, so it's like one of those things where it's like, again, I the only reason I would recommend is if it's something that you enjoy. Like, you know, if you're interested in the subject matter, it's a good watch.
Right.
Yeah. That's
cool.
So yeah, that was my big watch for the week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure you watched the Eternals trailer.
I don't. Which one?
The one that came out this week.
I didn't watch the one this week.
Oh, okay.
I can watch it now if you want me to.
Let's go ahead and watch it now. Yes, please.
All right. Pause.
Sure. Watch the trailer?
Twice.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow, does it look good?
Obviously, it's captured my interest a bit more than the first trailer that they released for this did.
Right.
I hate to say it's captured my interest a bit more than, you know, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings has. I think only because you're dealing with like Celestials and stuff now.
Right.
You know, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, it shows a little bit more powers. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I liked, because I mean, there's been the hang up of like, you know, if you've been around all this time, where the fuck were you during the Thanos fight? And they kind of explain that with like, well, we weren't allowed to interfere. You know, okay, that's interesting. You know, so I do feel like, I know there's a lot here to process, you know, but I think it's it looks much better than I've been anticipating. I think is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it looks. I think it looks pretty good. Bringing in the deviants and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be pretty good. And the deviants aren't like non-intelligent beings. You know, it's not like I mean, not that kaiju are non-intelligent, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, these are intelligent beings. You know what I mean? Like, they're not just, your average monster here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have purpose and they follow direction, and there's a purpose of what they're doing. You know what I mean? So it makes it even more interesting.
I don't know. I don't know a ton about them. Like I don't know anything about the Eternals. I'm not going to pretend like I do. You know.
Right.
So we talked about months ago. Like, I have a hard time with my buy-in with both of these movies because I don't have a ton of knowledge about them like I have with the other characters that have been introduced to the MCU.
I mean, the only thing I really know somewhat about, I've probably forgotten a lot too, so excuse if, memory fades out, but the Eternals couldn't fight because they were only there to fight the Deviants if they came to be.
Yeah. Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if the Deviants would come to attack, then the Eternals were only there to fight them.
Right.
And so the Eternals at this point are scattered. You know what I mean?
Right.
And with the rise of the Deviants, they have to find each other again in order to save the world.
Right.
And that's their only job, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So to have the Eternals, logically, to have the Eternals in Phase 4, in this new phase, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Deviants have to be in the mix and the Celestials.
Right.
So that confirms that we're definitely going to get Celestials in Phase 4.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. We've already been introduced to one with Ego.
Correct. But why would you have it? What I'm saying is, like, why introduce? This isn't a one shot, is what I'm saying.
Right.
They're going to be around.
Galactus.
Yeah, I know. And then that's the other piece of it.
Yeah.
The baddie in
the first
this,
thing I thought of.
The baddie in this, from memory, and this is like, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I can't remember his name. That's how long ago.
Right.
When you show him, he's holding Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Right. He's like a general or whatever. But he has some kind of thing with Angelina Jolie over a period of time. You got to remember, these people have been around for like 8,000 years.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I thinking about, like, they kind of introduced Celestials in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie when they were talking about the Infinity Stones, when they kind of finally explained the Infinity Stones to us. Like, Celestials were involved with that.
Right.
So it's one of those things where, like, we're about to learn more about these things that were kind of like have been glossed over previously.
Right, and they're kind of bringing things into the fold here.
Right, and
they're also bringing in the Watchers, in a sense, into the fold, into the What If.
Right, with What If,
because that's canon too. I mean, weird canon, but it's still. They're kind of explaining the Watchers.
Well, it's canon in the fact that, based upon the events of Loki, now we can discuss this.
Right.
That's the interesting thing about that is, like, okay, because of Loki, now What If is a reality.
Right. And so also too, when you do that snap, if you remember when the snap happened, it was felt in the galaxy, correct?
Yeah.
All over the galaxy. And if Earth was the generating point of that snap, then you're going to have more baddies trying to come in and get power.
Right.
To go to the power source.
Right.
Thus Galactus.
Yeah.
Because he wants that energy.
Right.
So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It's still up in the air.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it is. I mean,
let's solidify and say, oh, definitely it's going to be Galactus. Because right now, I think it's going to be um, Kang.
yeah.
But
I Kang is going to play a big point in this. And I think at some point Galactus, like, it's that funny thing of like, okay, if we all remember, like, you know, we first see Thanos at the end of the Avengers, the 5th movie or the 6th movie in Marvel history.
Mhm.
And we don't see him again for like 10, like really see him again for like 10 movies.
Right.
You know,
And so, but also with that too, is you have power hungry Galactus, not power hungry, just hungry Galactus. I mean, he is power hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Planet eater. But you also look at, you know, you have Kang the Conqueror as well, which is power hungry at this point. You know what I mean? And then you have to, I mean, you have to face facts and look at it and say, Doom. I mean, you're introducing the Fantastic Four into this realm,
Right.
and this is their sandbox right here. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
What's
And I found some interesting news in that apparently Chris Pine has had meetings with Kevin Feige.
Oh shit!
So
that puts a smile on my face.
There's one character off the top of my head I can think of that Chris Pine could play.
Warlock?
Reed Richards.
Oh my god, if he's Reed, holy shit.
You got to start. I mean, that movie's.
He's a little old for
on the
Warlock.
slate. You know, that movie's on the slate. You got to start, you know, production at some point, and you got to start thinking about who you're casting as these characters and introduce them. Chris Pine is Reed Richards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's got the look. He's got the acting chops.
Yeah.
He's physically fit. Not that Stretch needs to be physically that physically fit.
But still, I mean,
he's got to wear spandex. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But I mean, he's coming off of 2 successful runs as you know, in the Wonder Woman movies.
Right.
You know,
you have to have chemistry between him and Invisible Girl.
Right. Yeah. So who you cast as the Invisible Woman?
Yeah. Woman. Sorry.
Yeah, but Invisible Girl, Invisible Woman. You know, who you're going to bring in to be the Torch? But like him as Reed Richards, like I'm all in on that. Like, you know, you introduce him in the movie, I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
for
that's
sure.
The thing. That's the thing. Like the world's ready. Like it's funny. Like going all the way back to WandaVision. Like there was speculation that Reed Richards was going to first appear in WandaVision.
Right.
Like when Rambo was like, I got somebody, an astrophysicist who can, get me what I need to get into the hex. Everybody thought, well, that's Reed Richards. Well, they were bummed out that it wasn't. So it's like that thing of like we as fans, like it's funny, like we as fans are ready for Reed Richards.
Oh yeah.
We're ready for the Fantastic Four. It's very interesting. Like we as comic book fans have quickly forgotten, like, that shit Fox did. Yeah, we put it behind us already. Let's go. I'm ready. Give me Reed Richards.
Right.
Give me the 4.
Well, and the 4 needs to be updated. I mean, it has to be an updated version that doesn't have anything to do with what they were trying to do in those movies.
Right.
Those were so bad. And except for Chiklos.
Yeah.
But they got to. But I mean, that's what I'm saying with Doom is like Doom makes sense for that power because that's all Doom wants is power.
Right.
But then you're throwing in shit like, I mean, there's a lot of baddies floating around. You know what I mean? And then some baddies that we haven't even seen yet, like Galactus, possible Doom, fucking Red Skull's there somewhere. I don't know where, but he's around.
Well,
he's doing something.
He's watching the Mind Stone, wasn't it?
Well,
Easy Guardian. But
gone, right?
Rogers had I guess so at this point.
So he's no longer the Guardian.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
Could you imagine, like, when Steve Rogers had to show up and he's like, "Fuck you, giving the shit back to you."
Right.
Son of a bitch.
Right. Oh, I guess they were placed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But technically, I mean, they've been destroyed. But also, like, I mean, if somebody was decided to break into TSA or the TVA, they could walk out with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I know. It's like.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody's going to figure out how to get out of a situation, it's going to be Skull.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I like that character.
Yeah.
But for what they portrayed Skull as, because I loved him in Captain America.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was actor too, but even when they didn't have him, Skull, period, is a good villain.
Yeah.
He's like a ultimate power hungry villain, but I wouldn't put him on the level of Galactus or Doom. Do you know what I mean? But still, I mean, he's a good villain to have in your sandbox, so to speak, as I quoted that twice. But I mean, like, he's a good antagonist.
I remember thinking Paul Newman's character in Winter Soldier was Red Skull in disguise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I thought it like I was.
You mean Robert Redford?
Robert Redford, yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Redford. I could have one of the things like I was like sitting there just thinking like, I'll bet that motherfucker's the Red Skull, you know, and.
Well, you also have too, in like another villain that's in the mix that they keep putting in for years now is Abomination. You know what I mean? The General. Am I right? Yeah.
Oh, Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been there forever.
Well, I mean that there is speculation that we'll see the Red Hulk in the She-Hulk.
Yeah.
TV show.
So we'll see. I mean, there's also that character as well.
And I mean, and there's also like the formation of the Thunderbolts.
Right.
You know, like, are they doing a Dark Avengers or are they going to do Thunderbolts?
Right.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of things out there.
Yeah.
That we just, I mean, and there's a lot of things that they have that they can pull in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like in Guardians 2, when they pulled in Stallone and the crew.
Yeah.
Why would they just pull that in? Is that just from, why did Gunn do that? Why did Gunn, I mean, did he just pull them in to say, hey, or did they say, hey, you need to kind of include these guys somewhere in here? You know what I mean? Is that the formation of that crew? I don't know. And I want to see more of that crew. I'm very interested, even though we just got a glimpse of, Stallone and that whole thing. I thought that was pretty neat, actually.
Yeah.
I was intrigued by that, pulling them in. So I don't know.
Yeah, like that the whole Ravager mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that crew of Stallone and I forget the name, the guy like Strange.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like very interesting.
Yeah.
And they kind of highlighted each one of them in certain aspects. So I mean, like on a low level, of course.
Yeah.
But still, they look pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of like we're gonna put him in. We're gonna put him in our back pocket for a while. And if we need him, we'll just bring him out. You know.
I think
Who these guys are.
Yeah, I think Marvel does that. Like, I mean, like, why would you introduce the Nova Corps if you're not going to have Nova?
Right.
You know, like at some point, I keep expecting like Nova to show up.
Right.
You know.
And why would you tease so hard on Adam Warlock?
Yeah.
Not to put him in a movie.
Right.
You know
I think that's Guardians 3. I think there's going to be a lot of tennis balls in the air with Guardians 3, I think. But it is one of those things where like you can't wait to see like how some of this plays out. And I think like going back to this trailer, I think this more than anything sets in motion like much like Loki did. I think it sets in motion a big bad for us to finally get to like the real Galactus.
I hope. Then I'm sure Marvel will do it phenomenally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's that scale issue. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that seems weird, but there's a gigantic scale issue here. You know what I mean? Like,
but I don't think Marvel's afraid of that.
You just got to make it look good, and
right.
I think Fox was I think one of the why they fucked up Galactus so badly with the whole cloud thing, that whole thing. I just don't think they could figure out how to do it and make it look good. I'm serious. Or invest the money into creating. You know what I mean?
Of course, there was also that there was an exec at Fox who famously had the quote. It was something along the lines of, with these comic book movies, I don't want to see any giant fucking purple robots or guys in purple armor.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And so like when they do Galactus, you can't truly do Galactus by these mandates by the execs. You had to change them into a cloud.
Right, and we waited for years. I mean, we really didn't see. We haven't seen them either really on a really good scale, or the Sentinels.
Yeah.
I mean, like we did in Future Past.
Yeah.
But there's much more to them than that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we haven't seen an epic battle with Sentinels yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, no one's throwing Wolverine up on top of one, that kind of shit. But maybe that'll be an X-Men movie 10 years from now. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, like, it's funny. Like you as fans, we want to see the dominoes fall, and in ways, like in certain ways, like with this trailer, with the Eternals movie, you can see a domino fall.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm not quite sure what domino Shang-Chi is going to drop, but like with this, I could definitely see. Okay, this is where this leads to. This is the path this is going to take us down.
Well, everything that they've put out so far has a purpose.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
So we're just waiting to see what the Shang-Chi purpose is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because then there's that other villain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that he's bad, but, not on that mega villain level. You know what I mean? But we still have him, and he's still there. So, I mean, like, but like you said, I mean, everything that they put out has a purpose. There's a purpose behind it.
Right.
So
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, I mean, they're very orchestrated on how they do things.
Yeah.
So we just have to try to figure out the pieces.
Exactly.
But that's what makes Marvel movies so good.
Yeah.
And then you get the surprise, and you're like, oh shit, Yeah. I can't believe how many times we said that during those Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Whether it be somewhere in the movie or somewhere in the end credit scene or, something. We're just kind of like, oh,
right.
man. So,
But like even like simple like oddball stuff, like you couldn't see like, okay, like how does Avengers or Captain America Civil War tie into Thanos? Well, it ties in the simple fact that since the Avengers were scattered, they weren't the strong. Like if the Avengers were together, maybe just maybe they could have beaten Thanos before he collects all the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
But because they weren't, because they were separate, they were weaker, and because of that they failed. So it's like that you had to put them in that position to not be on the same page, so that when you get to Endgame, that those moments mean that much more.
Right.
It all comes back to the first three. It comes back to Iron Man, Cap, and Thor against Thanos.
Right.
Like it was shit like that you had to you had to divide so that they could later on can conquer. So you're right. Like everything is connected. Everything has a purpose from an overall storytelling standpoint. And so it's just, you want to know, like, how does this fit in and how does this fit in? Well, I feel more confident that I know what the Eternals is going to fit into than I do with Shang-Chi, but I know that's going to fit in somewhere.
Yeah. And there's got to be a piece to play in each movie.
Yeah.
I mean, what Fury said, like in one of the original, was it the first Avengers? I think it was. He was like, well, we got to guard our shit here. I mean,
yeah,
there's other things out there in space that know that we have something very powerful here on Earth.
Right.
And so we have to guard that.
Right.
Well, now the baddies are going to start coming as far as outer space type baddies. You know what I mean?
And I mean, there's other shit. Like me and Nancy I just rewatched with Nancy WandaVision.
Uh-huh.
And I forgot about that end credit sequence with Monica Rambeau and the Skrull.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh shit, that's right. I forgot about that. But then like the other end sequence with with Wanda, reading the Darkhold and hearing her kids scream for it. Like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. Where is that gonna now that the multiverse has been cracked open, it's like, oh wow, this is like there's so much, like going back and kind of rewatching that, like, especially like the end parts of it where it was like, oh yeah, this is all coming together.
Right. And like, yeah, it is. And then like, but with the multiverse too, you have a being that she'll get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she'll figure it out. I mean, it's not that she's not going to.
Right. But I mean,
she just needs time to do that.
Right. But I mean, it's like, it's that funny thing of like, as powerful as she was untrained.
Right.
Like, like they mention it, like, she almost beat Thanos by herself. And then there's that, well, instead of also Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau's like her, but she's untrained. That's what you discover. Is like, she has all this power. She's the Scarlet Witch, this legendary being that, in the magic realm. And now she's putting the pieces of her puzzle together. How badass is she going to be? Yeah.
And is she going to turn?
Right. And like, even like, Agatha Harkness says it, like, you're even more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme.
Correct.
Well, we all know who that is, so.
Right. But that's that direct link to Strange.
Right. So the multiverse of madness, I mean, it's like, it's fun putting the pieces of the Marvel puzzle together.
Right.
And it's sometimes it's frustrating because you just want to tell yourself, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. But at the same time, I can't do that because I want to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah.
But
in a lot of ways, she is the madness.
Yeah.
I mean, which is crazy.
Yeah.
She drives herself crazy to the. Do you know what I mean? And so, as a catalyst with Vision, you know what I mean? And the kids and her realm of what she created. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, she is the crazy one.
Yeah.
She is the loose cannon.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
I get what you're saying.
Because I don't see Wanda being team-oriented right now. Team-oriented got her husband killed. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Team-oriented didn't do her many favors, put it that way.
But I think it depends on who's leading that team. I think the problem becomes the people that the people that she respected are dead.
Right.
Or went back in time to live their life.
Right.
You know, so Black Widow, that was somebody who I think she respected. Cap obviously was somebody that she respected. I think, maybe she might accept Falcon as a leader.
That's my only hang-up.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, that's my only hang-up. That's really my only hang-up with it, is Falcon as a leader.
Like, I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in Captain America 4.
Right. I'm not going to I'm not going to throw the Bucky line in. I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't bring. And this is going to sound terrible, and it's not going to happen. But I don't know how you cannot bring Cap back in. I just don't see it. How you can't not bring him back in.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, as memory serves, in the comics, he does come back. And then doesn't take the shield. You know what I mean? Like, then takes the shield and that whole thing. But, the storyline's changed when they did the movies. His original the later on love interest, which turned not to be a love interest. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she's the one that put him there in the beginning.
Yeah.
They killed him essentially.
I feel like it's there's a part of me that's kind of like I agree with you. Like I would love to see Evans return, take the shield back, and be Captain America. But at the same time, there's a part of me that like I'm intrigued to see how how does Falcon, like how does Sam Wilson, like and we've seen part of it already, like he's come to terms with the what the shield is and what the legacy is, plus the legacy of being a black man in America, all that stuff that kind of goes into that. And I mean, I think it was really, really well done with Falcon and Winter Soldier. But I think the next step has got to be like, how do you lead this group? Whatever that group may be. Like right now, there are no Avengers.
Right.
But at some point, you're going to need to assemble a team.
Right.
So like, is it like, how do you like have like people like trust Bucky?
Right.
Like, does he like clearly I think like Spider-Man gets involved in that somehow. Hopefully we reach a point where it's like, okay, Daredevil's a thing, so we're going to bring Daredevil in and, shit like that. Like, but at the same time,
there's then you have Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's a lot that goes into like, what will Avengers Phase 3 look like?
Right.
Or Mark 3, not Phase, but like the version 3.
Right. Like who would be? Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't. It's just so weird. It's hard to. I mean, they still have some Avengers left, but at the same point, I don't know. I thought the big three were huge. With Cap, Thor, and Iron Man, they were such big players in the sense that you know, Cap had the people, right?
Yeah.
Cap represented the people. Cap represented protection and justice and everything good about humanity.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he was the will to live and the will to fight for unbelievable odds, you know?
Right.
And then you had Iron Man, which was, I mean, for the people, yeah, but I mean, like, it was Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
But you had the money, you had the tech,
Yeah.
you had his brain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that Steve didn't have. I mean, Steve had the brain, but nothing like
Right.
Stark. And then you had Thor controlling the elements, space. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's a lot of things beyond just the three going to fight Thanos. There's different levels to their being in that world. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Now you take those three out, and what do you have?
Right.
You know, it's almost like you need one of them just to transition. You know, like it's right. You're right. I mean, Sam's got to build a team now, and it's like that team. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, is Portman becoming Lady Thor? Is she gonna be part of that squad now, or is she gonna hang out in space for a while? Because, like, remember, Earth's her home world anyway.
Right.
So I mean, like, she would more like Earth than she would, you know.
Right. I mean, and, you know, is War Machine an Avenger?
Right.
You know, like, you know, so I mean, there's a lot of like questions, and you know, I'm just intrigued to see how it all plays out. Like, you know,
and where's Hulk gonna go?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he's depressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, done. I mean, I think.
Yeah, I mean, his arm's never gonna heal.
Right. So I don't know what he does.
Yeah.
That's set up, you know. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, but then, like, so the She-Hulk become an Avenger?
That's what I mean. Or is that going to be West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, like, you know, we're talking, I mean, there's so many questions that, like, TV shows are going to answer, which is, like, interesting now. Like, you know, Hawkeye, like, what's the deal there? Exactly. She-Hulk, you know, there's stuff where you're kind of sitting there saying, like, wow, this is going to be really, really interesting. I can't wait to see where this all goes.
Right. And to tell you the truth, I don't care. This is going to sound terrible, but I don't care about the destruction of the West Coast. I just don't. I find that I mean, I get it, but it just makes more sense in an East Coast huge skyscraper building old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why I like the Avengers. If the Avengers took place in, like, LA, I'd be like, let it burn. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe because I'm from the East Coast and I've seen shit movies like Volcano and shit like that. I was like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, they literally moved Tony Stark to New York.
Yeah.
You know, like they like the first two Iron Man movies took place in L.A. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to New York.
Yeah, you gotta get to New York. Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff, a lot of interesting stuff, and I mean, I think, you know, again, one of those dominoes is gonna fall is obviously the Eternals, and that trailer certainly piqued my interest a lot more than
the first
any other has at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. That's
all right.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to add to the proceedings there, sir?
No, man, I'm good.
All right. Well, remember, there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us. You know, even if we're not doing a mailbag anymore, would love to receive emails from you. That email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. We're going to be doing a lot more with our Facebook page, so it's worth checking out. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd. We're very, very easy to find on both of those, as well as YouTube. I can't forget that. We also have the YouTube page now, so you can check that out there, where you can also see the same videos I'll be posting to the Facebook page. We're also going to We're also a member of a number of podcasting networks. You can find us on the Tangent Bound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, and the Pod Breed Network. And don't forget, you can, if right now on Android, you can download the Pod Breed app to not only listen to us, but all the other great podcasts that they have to offer. And very soon you'll be able to get that app on Apple as well. So the Pod Breed Network app, worth giving a little push to as well.
Nice.
And as I said at the beginning of the show, but I want to reiterate that again, as always, want to thank you for taking the time to check us out each and every week. We can't thank you enough. And thank you for your support. And be a friend, tell a friend. If you think somebody's going to enjoy these hijinks and or shenanigans, please let them know. Turn them on to the podcast. We're not going to be famous. We're not going to make money, but, it's always good to be heard and generate conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do, folks. Like with the Facebook page, I want to generate conversation. I want you to like the Facebook page, and I want you, like, when I post those articles, give me your thoughts, and we'll discuss those thoughts on the show as well. So that's why we want to create the interactivity, going away from the mailbag, but doing this where you're going to give us our thoughts. Hey, I like this article. I posted 2 articles. Clearly, we didn't get to them this week because we went down a rabbit hole. But
right.
Let's get involved. Let's get some conversation going. I think that's going to be fun.
Cool.
All right, then. And so on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.